So you've bought a Keep Cup and you remember your bag to the supermarket almost every time, and you've invested in some beeswax wraps. But have you given a thought to the clothes you're wearing? The UN says the fashion industry is to blame for up to 10% of greenhouse gas emissions. Australians spend around $5 billion a year on fashion, and most of it is dumped within a year. We send 500,000 tonnes of leather and textiles to landfill each year. That includes 6,000 kilograms of clothing thrown away every 10 minutes. But there are things you can do at home to help. If you're looking for a guilt-free way to add to your closet, it might be time to embrace sustainable fashion. The first step, check what the garment is made of.
Natural fibres are a better textile to use because there's fewer chemicals involved in the production of that textile, and also it means that the textile can biodegrade at the end of its life.
While no natural fibre is perfect, cotton uses a lot of water. Synthetic fibres like polyester and acrylic are far worse.
We're getting these teeny tiny fibres that are coming off while we're wearing the clothing and while we're washing the clothing. It gets through filters and ends up in our waterways.
Sustainable fashion looks at the entire life cycle of the garment, what goes into it, who produces it, and where it ends up, meaning it doesn't come cheap.
We're paying the cost that it takes to actually grow and produce a sustainable fibre, and importantly, we're paying a fair price to the people who produce the clothing.
Second-hand clothing adds to your wardrobe without contributing to the creation of new garments.
Hello, how are you? Good, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
At op shops, you can find some very funky pieces for a great price. But if the idea of sifting through some seriously daggy clothing exhausts you, there are always vintage shops, which are more like a traditional boutique but full of pre-loved clothing. They may be a little more pricey, but you're almost guaranteed to fall in love with a garment. Or 5. And you're unlikely to ever rock up to an event wearing the same thing as someone else.
It's a really fun way to express yourself and explore your unique style, as well as being able to support a more sustainable way of shopping.
Grace runs a vintage clothing store. She believes it's time to move away from fast fashion and instead celebrate individuality.
I want to see the end of trends. I don't think it's sustainable or necessarily healthy for the world.
And she says second-hand clothing is growing in popularity.
It's definitely on the rise. It's actually expected that in the next 10 years, as an industry, it will exceed the fast fashion industry.
You can also shop online. In Hobart, almost 18,000 people use a Facebook group to buy and sell second-hand clothes.
It's a great way to see what's available locally, so you can go try it on, make sure you're happy with it. But also, you're not adding to that, to any of that sort of fast fashion churn, which we know is destroying our planet.
We wear just 20% of our clothes 80% of the time, and yet we continue to add to our wardrobe. ABC presenter Talia Olatea gets the problem.
So I have items where I look at it and go, I can count on one hand how many times I've worn you, and yet I've had you for maybe 5 years. As you can see, more clothes.
She's challenged herself to not buy any new clothing this year.
I thought I was doing my part for sustainability, but then I looked at my wardrobe and realised that a lot of the clothes that I own will end up in landfill.
3 months in, it's going well.
And I haven't really repeated an outfit yet. So even if I just cycled the 3 months again, I would only wear these outfits like 4 times a year.
Often we've got what we already need right there in our wardrobe, but we might have forgotten about it. It's in the back, it might need a button fixed up.
Jane is an advocate of upcycling, adding value by fixing or altering clothes.
I've got things in my wardrobe that have been there for 20 or 30 years, and sometimes I might have to make them a little bigger or a little smaller, depending on what's going on in my life.
It's a return to the old ways of never letting anything go to waste.
These are some old-fashioned strategies that are new fashion now. Like, they're the kind of things that we need to be doing so that we're not wasting resources.
Proving that everything old can be new again.